Here's my review of House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 2. First, let me start with Aemon and the witch. So, I am curious to know if the witch is going to help Aemon. Basically, Aemon's mother convinced him to leave the castle, right, and go away to help fight. And so, he's acting crazy as he always does, wanting to kill everything in sight. And he kills a few people, but he does get stabbed. And it seems like for a moment, he doesn't realize that he's stabbed until he kind of feels something from behind. He sees blood, he falls down, and it's kind of looking like he's about to die. And then here comes the witch right there at his head with him on the ground. And he's looking up to her, asking her to please help me. This is a staunch contrast to how we see Aemon, at least in my opinion. We see Aemon as strong, as willing to take risks, and a bit wet behind the ears because he's a killing maniac, really not a whole lot of strategy. But to see someone like that at the mercy of a woman who is a witch to please help him, she's the only one there because he's killed everyone else that was in that room. And so I think that the witch will help him, but how? Magically, with magic, of course. But what does that mean? Is it going to make him immortal? I keep wanting to tie him to the Night King so badly, but it doesn't make sense because we all know that the Night King was killed by the children of the forest. And so I don't get it. But anyway, something's going to happen there. Now let's move on to my other part that I thought was so just intriguing with episode 2. And that is the way that Rhaenyra was portrayed. Of course, she lost her second son. So now, right, I think both of her sons are dead. Who's going to be the heir to the throne? I was kind of hoping, I'm not going to lie. Like, listen, for real, low key. I was like, come on, Daemon. Come on back home and quickly do something. And so Rhaenyra can get pregnant again. And, because y'all should have wrote that in the story for a little bit, but maybe you will, because that would have been so tantalizing. But back to what I was saying. I do think that I could understand Rhaenyra's, distraught, right? She just lost her son and it was kind of crazy the way it happened. They did betray her. And unfortunately, her son, he was just so wet behind the ears, wasn't experienced. Those kids, I call them kids, out there on the dragon, trying to make a name for themselves, thinking they're going to save the world. And they really just didn't have the wisdom or experience. So she's grieving, but long story short, Alicent pulls it off where that plan to allow Rhaenyra to come in and take over and get on the throne is happening. And Rhaenyra becomes aware of it. So Daemon kind of like snaps her out of her grief for a moment and tells her, like, don't let your son's deaths be in vain. So long story short, she goes on the dragons. It's her, Daemon, and 2 others that are not full-blood Targaryens, but anyways, they can ride the dragon, right? And I'm wondering what they're going to do because they seem silly, but we'll see. They seem really inexperienced and one seems really silly, but let's see what happens. This is what I would have changed in the story. I like the fact that Rhaenyra is going back to take the throne, but they just portrayed her as just kind of being a little weak. And the reason why I say that, I understand that she just lost her sons, but they have her crying all the time as if she can't go through with taking over the throne. And then, she needs to behead Alicent's father and she's hesitant to do that. She's crying again. And I just kind of felt like that was not the sentiment I was expecting to see. Oh, that's my cat in the background. Say hello. Don't you love real-time recordings? Anyways, he agrees with me, by the way. I would have rather seen a defiant Rhaenyra, an angry Rhaenyra. Like, she is mad. You've taken my 2 sons. It's a long time coming. This throne is mine. I would have rather seen her with a vengeance, right? Rather than being so much in this, just crying and just seemed weak. And then finally, when it came time to behead Allison's father, she couldn't do it. And Allison's father said, asked Damon to do it, because Allison's father knew that pretty much Rhaenyra would probably just have to whack at his head a couple of times to get it off, because I believe this would be the first time she's ever beheading someone. But Damon doesn't do it. He pulls out his sword and you think he's going to do it, but he gives it to Rhaenyra, and he's right. He tells her, this is when you become queen. This is when people will respect you. And I 1,000% agree. You have to be heartless in a sense. Okay, none of this crying, but I would have rather that whole scene be rewritten. With the anger, and Rhaenyra's coming in with the vengeance, because I would have been behind the television screen like, yes, and just glued. I was still glued, but I would have been glued even more like, yes, come on, Rhaenyra, show them what you got. Show them that you're not afraid. They've taken your 2 sons. They've taken the crown from you. Now you're back and you're going to take everything. But anyways, that's the way it was. That's the way I would have wrote it. You liked that, didn't you? You were getting excited. Anyways, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed this. Let's see what episode 3 brings us.